Good afternoon. Welcome to the May 8th, 2019 Airport Commission meeting. Couple of things. First of all, make sure all your electronic devices are turned off so there's no unnecessary interruptions. We do have Norwood Community Media filming this. Is there any other entity taping or filming this meeting?
Chris, go ahead. Chris Todd with Boston Executive Teleconference.
Thank you.
Matt McDonald, Norwood Records.
Thank you. First on the agenda, we have Du Bois and King. Jeff Adler's here to give us an AIP project update.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, Jeff Adler with Du Bois and King. So I'll start off with the master plan AGIS project. So we did have our public meeting on that, which was, I think went well. And so with that, I think the comment period is still open until Friday to accept comments, public comments that is. So we'll accept those and then we'll basically, address those. We did also submit the draft to FAA and Mass DOT for their review. So that will be going on concurrently. So our goal will be to take the comments from the public, the comments from FAA, and then address those, and then finalize the document. So appreciate Commission for coming to that and us and help for putting that together and setting up the meeting room. And I think it went well. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
How many people attended, Jeff?
Outside of FAA and airport and us, I think it was 2.
Two? Yeah, and yeah.
We had also the tower there.
Oh, and the tower, right, well,
Yeah.
consider that kind of
And
airport.
Bob Donnelly from the FinCom was there as well.
Yes,
So-
thank you.
So, public.
And the two persons of the public were positive?
Well, I think there were questions about, just some questions about design aircraft and some of the, the options that we came up for the taxi lanes. But, I think they were, the questions were okay, and I think we were able to address them, so.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Russ. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehan. Jeff, while you're here, we have two pay
Oh, but-
requests.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I,
Yes, Mr.
sorry to
Sheehan.
interrupt. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Were there any tenants of the airport at the meeting? Meaning they leased space here?
Yes.
Yes. And then who were they in particular, if you remember?
Mr. Dunn was.
Yep. And that was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehan. So, Jeff, while you're here, we're gonna
Yep.
just touch on if there's
Yep.
any questions. So we have pay request number 6.
Number 6 for the
AGIS.
Yes.
Basically, it's $14,831.52. FAA is $13,348.37. Mass DOT $741.58. And Norwood Airport $741.37. So look for a motion for pay request number 6 in the amount of $14,831.52 in the breakdown as I described.
Submitted, so moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the.
Hey, I'm the chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So pay request number 4?
Yeah, well, I was gonna explain a little bit about tax
Okay.
A&D and then do that.
So this is pay request number 4. This is pay request number 5. How come we have two numbers here?
No, it's Mass dot pay request number 4, and regarding invoices number 4 and 5.
Okay. So Mass DOT total amount $426,696.45. So Jeff, now I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, okay, so this is basically, we had approached Mass DOT about supplying additional funding to finish that project because of the overruns, because of the environmental issues. And so you have that before you as well, so I won't jump to that, but Mass DOT stepped up and was willing to contribute another $435,000 and change. And with that, they said that they would, move forward with funding the outstanding balance to the contractor. So basically, this is a pay requisition for the 426, 696, 45, 100% Mass DOT funded.
Okay. And this is for all the environmental work?
All
Basically.
the issues we had with
Yeah.
completing the project last fall to get taxiway A finished. So but this additional money will allow us now to complete taxiway Delta as well.
Right, so now we'll proceed forward because they
Right,
stepped up to the plate. and
exactly.
Provide, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, look, promotion, pay request number 5, in the amount of $426,696.45.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Mr. Chairman, that is FA MassDOT pay request number 4.
It is.
4.
So that 5 is,
That's just the invoice number.
That's the invoice number.
I really confused. So it's pay request number 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, same amount.
Mass dot and pay request number 4, invoices 4 and 5. So
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you also wanted me to, I know you have the Mass DOT amendment in front of you for approval, and I just wanted to clarify what those numbers are, because we had 2 pieces to that. There was the, construction piece, which is $426,735.50, and then there was our engineering, which MassDOT is contributing another $8,809.56, and that's how it gets to the $435,549.
459.
No, it's 549.
He's got it written down.
Oh,
The MassDOT amount is written as 435, 459.
okay, maybe I transposed the numbers.
Yeah, that's all right.
So what's the real number?
The real number is $435,459.06, and this is an amendment amount to cover, as Jeff said, the taxiway Alpha project, change orders 1 and 2, and that includes the engineering as well as the construction.
So just in case there was any confusion about the number.
Right.
Because Russ and I were just talking earlier about the 426, and I did talk to Tom Mahoney, and we added the engineering in, and that's why it comes up to the 435 number.
Correct.
So a motion to amend to that number that you said, 435, 459.06.
And this would be to have the chairman sign the standard contract form in that amendment amount.
Do you want me to read off the project number on it? You okay with that, Mr. Chairman?
I think we're okay, Mr. Shaughnessy, so for the amount you said and to authorize the chairman to sign for this contract.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you.
Okay. Unless there's any questions, that's all I had.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Yes, Jeff.
Next on the agenda, we have meeting minutes. First up, we have the meeting minutes of April 4th, 2019.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of 4/4/19. Is that the one we're looking at? The
Correct.
Special
Yes.
business meeting, yes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Regular business meeting, April 10th, 2019.
motion to accept minutes of regular business, April 10th, 2019.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you. And then the final is April 29th, 2019, regular business meeting.
Motion to accept the April 29th special business meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. And that was a special meeting that we had it was one agenda item for $1,905,000 for complete the SRE building, the Mark C. Welch Administration Building, and a parking lot. State share is $1,789,547. Knowledge share is $115,451. Once again, thank you to Mass DOT for what they do for us. All right, could you pass this down to Russ?
Yep.
Thank you. Airport managers report. Russ?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything to add unless there are any questions on the written report.
So just on the admin building, we're meeting weekly. Wednesdays, we have project meetings at 9 a.m. with the contractor. Bennett McCready is the architect, and between us all, we're trying to move this project along, and it's moving along, and looking forward to our new facility there. Sometime end of July, it should be complete. And then Russ, vegetation management program, Mass DOT once again has stepped up to mow 48 acres on this airport. That these aren't just regular grass areas, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. There's actually, as you can see on page 1 of the manager's report, 48 acres at 4 sites, 3 of which involve the runway ends, runway 35 end, the runway 17 end, and the runway 28 end. And there'll be the contractor, which is Solitude Lake Management of Shrewsbury, Mass, will be using probably a Marsh Master, which is actually a piece of amphibious equipment that is ideal for this type of airport, especially this time of the year when the water levels are high.
What's the name of the company?
It's Solitude Lake Management of Shrewsbury, Mass. And I can share with you offline, Commissioner Shaughnessy, if you have any questions about that. This is 100% funding from the state, and it's under the State Vegetation Management Program. So we were thrilled to be included in this grant.
Nice job getting the grant, Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Yeah, good stuff.
So if no other questions, Mr. Chairman, let's accept the minutes report as written.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Old business, we have Boston Executive Helicopters fuel truck operating in the vicinity of helicopter circles. We kind of pushed this down the road. We just got to finalize this. So on February 11th, we received 2 letters from helicopter operators on the airport complaining about BEH fuel truck driving around the south end helicopter circles for no apparent reason. The BEH fuel truck delayed helicopter operations for 2 helicopters according to the letters that were submitted. Both letters expressed concerns of unsafe operation by the BEH fuel truck, and I think we just recommend a letter to be sent by the airport manager to BEH expressing concerns by airport tenants and the management of the airport of unusual and unsafe operations by the BEH fuel truck, and to use better judgment in the future.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Sheehan.
for you to Russ. Russ, is BEH fueling now? Are they fueling?
No.
No. So would there be any reason for a truck to be running up and down the taxiways or the runways at all if it's not fueling?
Nothing that I would be aware of.
Okay, so that's just regular business, Russ. I don't think a motion needs to be made, so you just follow up as airport manager and address that, please. Thank you. New business, commercial permit interest. Southern Airways Express, this is some exciting news. You're going to hear from the proponent on this, and a long time coming, and I welcome Mark up here to the desk.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Sassari from Southern Airways Express. We have a brief presentation about our company and also some of the ideas that we have for you folks here in Norwood. So just give me a second, we will get set up.
Yeah. You want the lights shut off, Mark?
Maybe at some point.
Okay, we'll wait for your direction.
No problem. I brought my technical specialist. You concentrate on that.
Good enough.
Can you stand up?
I'm going to take my jacket off, Mr. Chairman. So a little bit about myself. I am a local Boston person. I live in Newton with Boston College, and it's great to be in New England for a change. Southern Airways is the fastest growing airline in America and the largest commuter carrier in the 50 states. I don't know how my Tinder photo got into this presentation, but somehow it's there. Joke. About our company, we are a fairly young company in airline years. We were established just about 6 years ago. Southern Airways was founded by a gentleman named Stan Little, who was an attorney from Memphis, who had a home in Memphis and a beach house in Destin, Florida. And he started chartering aircraft to go down to his beach house and ended up buying a couple airplanes and founding Southern Airways with 3 aircraft, Cessna Caravans, and 5 pilots. In April, a year later, April 2014, Southern purchased Executive Express Aviation, a Chicago-based operator, and doubled the size of the operation. I worked previously for Sun Air Express. We were a Fort Lauderdale-based commuter with commuter certified authority. We were flying basically EAS routes. I see a Pittsburgher here. We're flying routes out of Pittsburgh, and Southern came to us and purchased our company and kept myself and our chief operating officer. So now there are 6 of us in the senior management team who run the company and are very proud of the progress that we've made. Sun flew Cessna, Piper Chieftain piston aircraft, and when Southern purchased us, we transitioned to an all-turbine fleet with all Caravan aircraft. In September 2016, Southern was re-awarded all of our Sun Air Express contracts, and we became the largest operator, or we served the most airports in Pennsylvania at that point. For a while, we were growing so fast that we had to wet lease aircraft from Mokulele Airlines in order to spool up for the Pennsylvania operations. But in December 2016, we transitioned all the flights to our own pilots and our own aircraft. We continued to expand the next month and were awarded 3 new cities, and we opened a brand new hub at BWI Airport. The airport constructed for us a 6-gate concourse on the D concourse at BWI. BWI is now the largest airport in Washington with about 30 million passengers a year, bigger than Dulles and bigger than Reagan in terms of volume. 2 months later, we won 3 new contracts. One of our competitors had gone out of business in Dallas, and we were asked by DOT to quickly engage into replacement service. They never like to see communities go dark, and we did win all 3 of those contracts as well. At the same time we were growing in leaps and bounds, the industry was facing this massive shortage of pilots, a combination of the new rules that were enacted to raise the minimum hours for pilots, the fact that the military's turning out fewer pilots, and the fact that millennials don't get excited about the idea of flying the way we old guys did, and there's fewer of them going through the expensive process of becoming pilots. So we entered into a pass-through agreement with a large jet regional so that our pilots now, when they come to work for us, get a sign-on bonus with the big company. They get a path into a jet if they fly for the specified amount of time with us. We have no shortage of pilots. We actually have spare pilots, which is quite a success story from where we were sitting a year and a half ago. Many airlines right now are hard pressed to fly the routes that they have, much less to expand. One of the biggest developments in our history happened last June when we were finally at the point where we had enough scale with over 100 flights a day that we were able to enter into an interline agreement with American Airlines. American had recently merged with US Airways, and especially in our mid-Atlantic markets, US Airways Allegheny was the hometown airline. So we now are able to have our customers get on our flight at our small airports, go to Pittsburgh or BWI, check their bags all the way through to 500 cities around the world. It's really been a game changer for us. In November, just 6 months ago, we opened our first Florida hub. Our operations headquarters is in Pompano Beach, Florida, between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, but we were not operating any flights in Florida, but our first route was West Palm Beach to Tampa, and we now fly 4 routes in Florida, which are all doing quite well. And just 2.5 months ago, we acquired Mokulele Airlines, which is a 25-year-old commuter in Hawaii, also flying Cessna Caravans. And so now we are now the largest Cessna Caravan operator in the US, and that's also why I have the Mokulele logo on my shirt. So that is our world today. We have about 60 flights in Pittsburgh. We have about 30 in BWI. We connect a lot of our central Pennsylvania cities up to both hubs. Florida, we have amalgamated the original routes between Memphis and the Gulf with our Texas routes and our new Florida operation. And when we purchased Mokulele, we now serve the most cities in Hawaii, and as part of the Mokulele acquisition, we also picked up one route in California between Los Angeles and Imperial. So we are literally spread very widely all over the map. But what we're here today to propose, we would like to launch our first route in New England this summer between Norwood and Nantucket. We think that, especially with what is happening at Logan, congestion, parking, removing the ride shares, there is interest in the suburban communities of finding an alternative to that, and we think that Norwood offers a really good alternative for folks on the South Shore and to the west of the city. So just in terms of the numbers, right now we're doing 222 daily departures. We have 30,000 monthly passengers, which when you're a small company like us, that's a lot of people to keep happy. We have 500 employees, and like most businesses right now, one of our largest challenges is hiring people. It's definitely a difficult hiring environment. We have over 200 pilots, and we have 35 aircraft. There's our list of destinations. You can see our mid-Atlantic destinations in the Gulf, California, and Hawaii, and our focus cities there, quite a few. And first on the map in New England is Norwood. We are in conversation with 4 other communities right now, and we will probably select 2 of those communities in addition to Norwood for operations this summer. So we do fly the Caravans. What we're proposing here initially is just one round trip a day, out in the morning and back in the late afternoon, evening. We may augment that, but we're going to start conservatively, probably, as I said, serving 3 cities, beginning and ending the day here. We want to be competitive with the other carriers that are flying the route out of Logan. We do obviously have the benefit here of not having to deal with the tolls and the parking and all the other impediments to flying. Our aircraft operations are very simple. There's no catering, there's no labs. We would do our fuel purchasing here most of the time. We would also probably have to purchase in the field as needed as well. Our model in terms of our company, we base our pilots in our hometowns so that they provide local, they become employees, they pay taxes, they buy houses here. For every route that we run, we typically have 8 pilots based in that city. And so the cities where we have a lot of flights, we have a lot more pilots than that. We find it's a great way to maintain an on-time operation because our pilots live close to where they're starting and ending the day. And it's just good community relations. We do, unlike the big airlines, every one of our communities is very, very different. We fly to cities, Hot Springs, Arkansas, El Dorado, Arkansas, very small places, Bradford, PA, where I was this morning, and we fly to big places like Dallas, Fort Worth, and BWI. One size doesn't fit all for us. We know that every airport has its own sensitivities, its own limitations, and its own opportunities. And that's basically what my job is, to make sure that we are a good fit, not just for Southern, but for you on the commission, and most of all for your community. So in terms of the specifics, we would like to try to start the route on Flag Day, June 14th, and we would probably run through around the 1st of October. Since this is a new route and a new city that hasn't had this kind of service before, we're going to have to kind of see how it goes. It's an unknown commodity to us, but after doing a month's worth of research, we think that's kind of a realistic time frame of when the season gets going and when there's demand that can make this profitable for us. So that's really my whole formal presentation. If we could put on the lights, I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Steelers fan, huh?
Thank you, Mark.
No problem.
So this is more of an informational thing, Mark? I mean,
Yes.
Russ, is there any approval required from us?
Not at this point. If he's going to apply as a commercial permit holder, as a based 135 operator, then he'd have to go through the process of actually submitting the paperwork that's required, the financials, and business plan, etc. So at this point, he could be a 135 operator somewhere else and just come in and use the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point, our main maintenance base is in Lancaster. Our secondary base for the Northeast is in DuBois, PA. Our corporate headquarters is in Memphis, and our system operation control, where our flight following is in Pompano Beach. So we wouldn't be moving any of that infrastructure here initially.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Shaughnessy.
So Mark, so do you intend to maintain a presence on the airport, an office or anything like that?
We probably won't right out of the box, but if we grow beyond one flight, we probably will need to.
And pardon my ignorance, but how many people, I know you mentioned the type of aircraft, but how many would be flying?
We would fly these aircraft with 8 passengers.
8 passengers,
Yeah.
okay.
There's no lab service, there's no flight attendant, there's no catering. So as a 135 in this category, we can fly with 1 pilot, as Cape Air does. Typically in our EAS markets, which we fly sterile, TSA, we typically fly with 2. In the non-EAS markets, we sometimes fly with 1. we find that, flying with two pilots gives us an opportunity to train the younger pilots. Most of our captains are older, 25, 30 years experience, and they come to fly with us after retiring from the military or FedEx or something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaughnessy. Mr. Sheehan?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for choosing us as one of your airports. It's exciting. Weekends, would you consider more flights than one? I would think on a Friday.
We're going to start with Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, one. Once we start selling, these are 8-seat aircraft. There's no, we have lots of aircraft, lots of pilots, but we would rather start conservatively and spool up rather than start aggressively and fold down. We don't think that's in our best interest or in the airport's.
So in the beginning, in June 14th Flag Day, how many planes will you have here at Norwood Airport? One or two?
We'll have one in service and we will probably have one spare off also. We usually like to keep, in each region, we typically have one spare aircraft. In a lot of the markets that we fly, as we would here, we're the only airline, and when you have that situation, you need to fly reliably. As a matter of fact, in April of this year, we had 99.1% controllable completion, but we also had 93% on time. We had both Mokulele and Southern were the number 1 and number 2 on-time airlines, including all of the majors. So our commitment to reliability and on time is absolutely paramount.
And these other airports in the area you're looking at, would they be going to Nantucket, or would they be going for like Martha's Vineyard or Long Island or something? Is there a different operating plan for those other locations?
Well, today is our first public meeting with any of the Northeast airports. The Nantucket service is very much subject to their local approval. So at this point, our focus for the first round would be Nantucket. In our conversations with people, many people have indicated Martha's Vineyard, Provincetown. Our aircraft only requires 2,500 feet of runway, and that's a very generous amount of runway.
Right.
So we really could do all those destinations.
That's great. And where will you be keeping the aircraft while you're here in Norwood Airport?
Here. Yep.
And what
We probably won't hangar overnight.
No.
We don't have to worry about de-icing or frost. I mean, it is May.
Yeah.
And hopefully, who knows,
Yeah.
it's New England, it could snow. But we are not planning to hangar here initially.
Well, thank you. Congratulations. You look at those dates that you put up there from the start of 5 employees and 3 pilots to where you are today. That's a credit to you, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Wish you the
you.
very best, and Russ is great, and anything you need, please see Russ. And we hope there's a flight to Martha's Vineyard and to Provincetown and Long Island, and we hope that you grow here with us at Norwood Airport.
No, we think it's a great market.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehan? So, right off the bat, you're talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the flights?
Correct.
And
And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I would like to, if we receive approval from Nantucket next Tuesday, we would like to put the flights up for sale on Wednesday, and that would give us 30 days before launch. If we find 2 weeks into it that we're selling out, what a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So, but that's typically when we enter markets, like when we started West Palm Beach to Tampa, we started with 2 flights and they sold quickly, and we ramped up to 3. And we've had other situations that have gone the other way. There have been markets that we tried that were historically very strong, but the last time they were flown was 8 or 10 years ago, and the conditions shifted and we were not able to sustain the route. We have, there's 6 of us that basically run the airline. One of the things that we have gotten, I think, very good at is being realistic about scale. I think a lot of airlines are overly aggressive, and that's why there are a lot of ex-airlines. It's much better to be conservative and be pleasantly surprised than be too aggressive and, fail.
Okay.
terrific. Thank you, Mark.
Can I
Okay,
just ask
Mr.
one more question?
Shaughnessy.
So how do you handle the parking? I'm assuming that most of the passengers are single, maybe there's two at a time, do they just park in the municipal lots and?
You know, obviously, in this day and age, we now have this Uber strike happening. A lot of our airports are parking constrained. We operate from FBOs in the Gulf, for instance. We encourage our customers to use rideshare whenever possible.
Okay.
And many times, it's just easy for them to do that. Or if it's local, just get dropped off.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the folks we see living in a 10 to 15 minutes proximity to the airport just get dropped off and picked up.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see a parking problem. Geez, I was on that Norwood now, and there's no parking problem.
Well, I suppose, right, if you're just running one flight, but if you started
Starts
running
running
one flight.
8 or 9, who knows? All right.
All kinds of comments on there. Jeez.
I mean, with that, you want me to just touch base on the Mass DOT
Sure, I
grant
think
that's
that-
gonna
yeah.
cover a parking lot?
Yeah, I think we should.
Because
Well, I think it's Mark done one?
Is Mark done?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So you can say, listen.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Good luck.
If any on the commission have any questions, here's my card. Please feel free to
Thank you
reach
very
out to
much,
me.
sir.
Oh, my pleasure. Here you go.
Good luck.
Yes.
Thank you and good luck.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, who won the bean partnership?
Don't rub it in.
Well,
I've been answering that
Must be
question.
a Northeast,
I've been answering that question for 40 years.
must be a Northeast grad.
That's right.
Thanks, Mark.
like the other PC guy said.
So, Mr. Sheehan, thank you. You brought up, so I guess on social media, there was a lot of negative input about the town receiving a grant from Mass DOT to construct a parking lot, $125,000. And once again, thank you to Mass DOT on that. So this is just shows you the location of the parking lot. And if I can orientate everyone, here's the Mark C. Welch Administration Building that's currently being fitted out. You have traffic control tower here, and then you have the private entity here. Right here to your left is the viewing area. This is where everyone congregates to get a good view of out the Blue Hills, end of the runway, seeing the activity down on the flight level apron here. So this is a beautiful area that's well maintained. It's going to be continued to be maintained, and you know, flight level has even said they're going to provide some funding to even upgrade that.
So Mark, this is the present parking lot down here,
Correct.
right?
That's the present parking lot down here. So what we have proposed is a 22-space parking lot right up top here, which will provide multiple purposes. It will provide handicap accessibility and parking for the Mark Welch Administration Building. It will provide parking for the air traffic control tower. But more importantly, it will provide handicap accessible access to the viewing area for people who come there. I mean, you see it every day, you come down here, there's young kids, even older adults that now don't have to traverse this steep grade. We can drive right up top here. There'll be an accessible walkway there. They can come here and enjoy the area. The parking lot itself is going to be environmentally friendly. Mass DOT has requested that it's called an open graded asphalt mix, which actually allows the water to percolate into the ground. All right, percolate into the ground, let the ground do what it does naturally, clean the rainfall. And we're also looking to start adding trees here, especially shade trees, because if you've ever been out there, it can be pretty hot out there. And with the sun setting to the southeast, you know, we're going to start looking at providing some large shade trees in here. So the great thing about this parking lot, in addition to the other things I mentioned, it doesn't obstruct anyone's ability to see what's happening on the airport, because we tucked it behind the building here. You know, this is a nice green area, yes, but it's really not something that people can sit there and really take advantage of the view of the airport and the activities. So this made the most sense for the whole airport. We're going to be starting construction soon. And on top of it, you know, people talk about when, you know, is the parking lot ever full down here? Well, you know, we just had a presentation from Southern Airways. You know, that's going to bring in more business here. And we know in the technical master plan update, we're talking about a 3,700 square foot, two-story building, possibly in the future here, maybe a restaurant, maybe some businesses. So parking is always something you gotta look forward to. If you're gonna develop an area, we've got, I think, a good vision the commission does. So this is what we've been talking about, and I think it's gonna fit in nicely.
Yeah, Mark, to the point there, two things. Coming up here, once or twice a month for a walk, I've never seen anyone standing behind the Welsh Building.
Right.
I mean, I'm someone that lives right around the corner. I'm here. I don't see anyone from Canton or Walpole coming here, but I never see anyone standing there. The other thing is a person got a lot of misinformation through that website, and I spoke to them last night. Could you scan that and send that to all the commissioners so we can send it out? Is that possible?
Yeah, I think absolutely. To answer your question, yes.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
And Commissioner Shaughnessy also mentioned we should put this on the website.
Yeah.
So we'll do both.
Yeah.
To answer those questions and concerns, and answer those misrepresentations that we saw on social media.
I mean, this is another great thing to go along with Southern Air, that now people with handicaps and disability will now be able to take advantage when now they can't, and this is fantastic.
So essentially, this is going to be the headquarters for the airport now. This is where the offices, the manager's office, and where all the vehicles are going to be. The staff and the manager and assistant manager will probably just come right in here, so they don't even need this, although I guess you could park there if you wanted to. And so we're going to have all these additional spots, not just for the staff at the control tower, but anyone that wants to visit. We would have to build a walkway up here anyway to get into the building, because that's where the door is. So it's really
Well planned.
well planned,
Well planned.
and it's something that we were lucky enough to get the state to pay for.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to, once this is all done, to taking another look at this area that it's labeled a viewing area, but hopefully we can make some improvements there to make it even better. Some additional tables, or maybe there's some other shade areas we can put over there. But I know that one of the flight level has already expressed an interest in doing something there. I think they even gave us, we had a plan, a landscaping plan or something.
Correct.
Great.
So hopefully that works out. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
That's great. All good.
All right. So in your packet, you all had the proposals that's out for the lease of lot ABC for a lease to take over the tie-down areas, plus to construct a 7,200 square foot hangar, which hangars are desperately needed down here. And one of the things is, just crossing the Ts, dotting the Is. We have to make sure we follow the rules of the Commonwealth. And we just need to make a formal vote to lease this property.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Sheehan.
Yeah, just so everyone's aware, I received a phone call from one of our Board of Selectmen regarding a letter of misinformation that was supplied, that what we were doing here was somewhat surprising. Well, I went back through the minutes of the meeting. I actually watched a couple of minutes from 2 years ago when we were talking with Boston Executive Helicopter, and they're concerned about having more space. And in that meeting, it was made clear, and I believe a representative for Boston Executive Helicopter was here. He was filming, because I checked the written minutes, that we had said that ABC lot will be coming up when the lease expires for bid. And one of the reasons it was going on for bid, because of the complaint that was made by Boston Executive Helicopter, that we weren't putting things out to bid and being competing fairly. And now that we're doing that, we're somehow doing something else wrong. So explaining that to the member of the Board of Select, that this was discussed 2 years ago, it was clear that this would be available for anyone to bid on. And then I went through my other minutes. We actually discussed this in our January, February meeting with council. I think Mr. Bateman was his name, to prepare the lease, so it was discussed then. So this misinformation that was supplied to the Board of Selectmen to somehow say that this is a rushed process is so wrong. And the Board of Selectmen understood that very clear when I spoke to that member, and said, march forward, you guys are doing a great job. So I think that's important that it be clear, because when this misinformation gets out there, which happens all the time, and then it's coming from really not everyone, but it's very important that we clear it up, and thank you for clearing that up. So there's no further discussion. I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Sheehan.
To make available for lease Lot A, B, and C totaling approximately 95,446 plus or minus square feet for aircraft parking, aircraft ground handling, fueling of aircraft, and construction of an aircraft hangar for a lease period of 20 years beginning on November 1st, 2019. The ground lease rate shall begin at 51 cents per square feet and is based on current ground lease rates charged by the Norwood Airport Commission. And said lease rates shall increase by 2% each year from years 2 through year 10 and increase by 3% year 11 through year 20. That's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Sheehan. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Sheehan.
this packet will be available immediately after today to anyone who wants to bid on this?
That is, it's available now,
Okay,
and absolutely, May 15th is the RFP date, and there may be an addendum on this, but we're shortly going to be receiving RFPs from prospective bidders on that.
so if it's available now. May 15 is what date, Mr. Chairman? I just don't want anyone to come up and say, well, we weren't clear, but when it was ready, when was it due? If we could take a moment just to make sure we're clear on that. So it's available now, and how long will this, there might be addendums, but how long will this stay out for someone to pick up? Is it in here, or is there a
So-
date?
Yep, so initially, it's been out for quite a bit. It was initially May 6th, RFP was due. Boston Executive Helicopter did have a number of questions. I think there were 27 questions that were submitted and were answered by Kathy Carney, the purchasing agent. And so addendum number 1 pushed it out to May 15th.
Okay,
So there's probably going to be another addendum, but it's been out there for quite some time, and all the parties that are interested have been notified of the addendum and will be of any future addendums.
Mr. Chairman, just to
thank you.
underscore your point, it went into the Central Register on April 3rd, and it went in the Norwood Record on April 4th and April 11th. And it did go out to all of the tenants on the airport.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Mass DOT pay request number 1. This is Tower Construction, who's doing the Mark C. Welch Administration Building. Pay request number 1 is $49,305.85. Look for a motion to submit that to payment to the Mass DOT.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. In addition to that, we have a project clerk that's supervising the project, and to date, his name is Victor Serena, and we'll be also submitting this to the Mass DOT for payment. His project clerk expenses are $1,417.50. Motion to submit that as well for payment.
So moved.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you. All right. Pay requests, Mass DOT took care of professional engineering services. So each year we're required to update, if we want to, our engineer. So Russ advertised, We received 3 submittals, ASG Airport Solutions Group, Gale Engineering, and our current engineer, Du Bois and King. Pleasure of the commission, we could set a special meeting and meet with the 3 groups and hear their input on why they should be picked, or any other position of the commission on this.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Sheehan?
I would feel that we should interview the 3 applicants. I believe they put some time in, I reviewed those over the weekend, and I think just out of the courtesy, we should speak with all of them. There's one in there that I think put a lot of work into it, so I make a motion that we schedule interviews of 45 minutes each for each of the 3 applicants.
So there's a motion to have Russ set up those interviews. We'll have to have a special meeting for that.
Is that a motion?
Yeah,
Could I amend that?
yeah,
You're stuck on 45 minutes, could we make it a little bit less than that?
yeah, that's fine.
Maybe a maximum of half an hour, just so they could always ask for more, but I'd rather put
Yeah.
together something a little bit less.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
Motion made
Second.
and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Thank you. All right, so Russ, standard contract form amendment. This is for D. Is it?
That was actually approved, Mr. Chairman.
That's the one that's been approved, so
Yes.
that's set aside.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So correspondence, we have the first 3 engineering consultants submittals, we have that. A letter from Mansfield Airport Commission in support of Gale Associates, information to file. Is there a motion?
Motion to file all of the correspondences unless there's an objection received by the commission.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Thank,
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Russ, how am I doing?
Doing great.
Okay. So we have an executive session now, excuse me. Purpose 3 for executive session, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. If an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the litigating position of the Norwood Airport Commission. 1, Boston Executive Helicopters versus Town of Norwood. 2, Boston Executive Helicopters versus Norwood Airport Commission. And also to approve executive session minutes for April 10th, 2019.
We return to general session for the purposes of adjournment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion to that effect?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Mr. Osterschau?
yes.
Mr. Ryan votes yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.